You're listening to the Lawyer Lifestyle Podcast with Chicago attorney Dave Scriven-Young. This podcast is brought to you by Anchor, which is the app that I use to record and edit the Lawyer Lifestyle Podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, so let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so that it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 213 of the Lawyer Lifestyle Podcast for May 30th, 2020. My name is Dave Scriven-Young, an attorney from Chicago, Illinois, and I'll be your host. This podcast takes you on a daily journey to discover key principles in the areas of marketing, sales, and leadership for attorneys. So we're continuing on with discussing communication styles of leaders and why we need to be connectors, or connecting as opposed to directing. And this comes from John C. Maxwell's book, Leadershift. Now, it's interesting. The third component of how to become a more connecting person is to make the effort to connect with people. Go out of your way to connect. And during this coronavirus quarantine, a lot of people have been discussing the fact that celebrations are no longer a thing. For example, my younger son was, supposedly graduated from 8th grade, finished 8th grade, completed 8th grade, but there was no formal, typical graduation ceremony or step-up ceremony or anything like that. We were able to do that with our older son 3 years ago or 2 years ago, but not for him. And so the question was, well, how are we going to make that event special? And there's lots of ways, obviously, to do that. We did it sort of in our own family way, getting a cake, gifts, getting a movie from the Redbox, that sort of thing. But, I've seen a lot of other ways, surprising ways to do it. Birthday parties, birthday celebrations have been, tremendously different. Now we're pretty much relegated to, doing a drive-by parade of people where, and we're actually doing one this upcoming week. So even though things are, opening now, at least in the state of Illinois, more and more things are opening, people are still hesitant to get together for big parties. And so what's important to remember is that no matter if you're in a quarantine or a non-quarantine situation, it's important to make those special events special, but also to go out of your way to create special moments for people. Whether it's giving a surprise, birthday or graduation party to somebody, or sending somebody flowers, or some sort of gift. There are a lot of ways to make it special, and creating those special memories, whether it's sort of a momentous occasion or for no occasion at all, is really a great way to connect with people. John C. Maxwell talks about doing this in various ways. One in which was creating a special memory for his grandson, who he was taking for golf lessons and got his first par. And then he, Dr. Maxwell, was able to videotape that memory and share it on social media, and, was able to make that a special event or meaningful moment and memory for his grandson. And then talked about other things such as, creating, a special dinner party for guests. Right now it's hard to do that, but there are ways, even virtual ways, to get people together and to create a lasting memory and connection for folks. So you can do it, but you really have to be a little bit creative, especially in this time. But I think the most important thing is you have to make the effort. If you want to be someone who is a connector, someone who has a connection with people, then you have to go out of your way to do that. If you, to stay in your room and stay in your house, and you don't do anything, you're not going to be able to, your followers, the people that you want to have follow you, are not going to do that as much. They're not going to see you as authentic or as someone who wants to engage with them if you don't. So you really have to go out of your way to do it. Dr. Maxwell says that if you care about people, you'll be capable of coming up with ways to create connecting experiences with others, but it always takes effort. It takes effort to come up with the ideas. It's even more. It takes even more effort to follow through on those ideas. And if you don't, then you're not doing all you can to connect and to be the best leader that you can be. He quotes Art Williams, who was basically an insurance person for years and came up with this whole life or a term life policy, excuse me. He was totally against whole life policies, but he came up with this term life company, and his quote always was, all you can do is all you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. Just saying, yes, do your best and everything and leave it all on the table, and then you can look back and say, yeah, I gave it all that I could. And if you do that, if you try to connect with people, then you can look back and say, you know what, I was able to connect with some, maybe not with others, but I did the best that you could. And that's really what we're doing here on this podcast, is trying to learn the techniques, the principles that will help us to become the best, marketer, leader, salesperson that we possibly can, and that leads us to become, a better lawyer as a result. Not only because we have a better team, but also because we're able to service our clients in a better way. We're able to get in front of more people, because at the end of the day, we believe that we have a great service to offer. And so if we can become a better leader, then we're going to be able to become a better connector with the people in our firm, yes, but also with clients and potential clients as well. So I want you to think about, for your daily action item, how can you create a memory or a connection with your clients? One of my favorite stories, and I probably told this a few times in the 213 episodes of this podcast, but one of my favorite Gary Vaynerchuk stories is his story about, I think, and I don't remember what exactly it was a Brett Favre jersey, or maybe it was a Bruce Springsteen tickets. I think it was a Brett Favre jersey. So back in the day, Gary Vaynerchuk ran his father's wine and liquor store, and he, one of his big things is surprise and delight. So if you were a good customer of Wine Library, which is the store that he owned, or helped, actually he didn't own it, his father owned it, but that he helped operate, then Gary would try to go out of his way to find out what his customers liked, and then send a gift as, in gratitude. And so he did that one time where he got a big order of some sort of wine or liquor, and he searched him up on social media, found that he was, a big Green Bay Packer fan, especially Brett Favre, and actually sent a signed jersey, I think it was, in the mail to his customer, basically with a note that said something to the effect of, thanks so much for being a client or a customer. Thank you so much for being a good customer, and we just wanted to show our appreciation. And of course, you do something like that, not completely expecting that there would be huge results, but you hope that there would be some, I guess, reaction on the other side. And he never heard, back from this guy. And so like a couple months went on, still, nothing from this customer that he sent this gift to. And then he got a big order in, like a couple months later, not from the customer, but from somebody else. And And I don't remember if it was a phone call or what have you, but it turned out that this guy made this big order because the initial customer had commented or made some sort of, told the story to his friend about how he got this jersey and how it was really cool. And for some reason, he never reached out to Gary, but he told his friend, who in turn made this big order for Wine Library. So you never know how it's going to turn out, but I think, as Dr. Maxwell says, you're not doing it. You're not creating these moments and memories because you feel like you're going to get something out of it, but because you yourself, want to be the best leader that you can be. So to create these memories for your clients, for your customers, for your team members, I want you to take a moment just to think about, especially now about your clients, how can you create a lasting memory for a client? And of course, a good result in your case is what they want. But is there something else that you can do, whether it's a call on their birthday or, a gift you can send them on the holidays or just for whatever reason? But can you connect with that person in that way? So that's what I want you to think about for your daily action item. So I invite you to join into the discussion. You can leave me a voicemail by going to anchor.fm/attorneydsy. Hit that message button. You can leave me a comment for me to play on the show or a question for me to answer. You can leave me a comment or question on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at AttorneyDSY. I'm also on LinkedIn, so let me know if you have any comments about this episode. Tell me what you think about this podcast or give me a topic you'd like to hear about. This podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, and Anchor, so please be sure to subscribe and rate and review. I also want to invite you to the next session of the Lawyer's Emotional Intelligence Book Club, continuing on with Dr. Chatterjee's book, The Stress Solution. The next session, and this is a programming change, will be Thursday, June 4th at 8:30 Central. You can find out more at facebook.com/lawyerseq. Have a great day or night, and remember to fight for the lifestyle that you want. Become the rainmaker that you need to be.